Hey there, sports fans. In a moment, we're going to enjoy part 2 of my chat with Katie Maloney from Vanderpump Rules. But before we get to that, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit subscribe, like, and all that jazz. If you're listening on a podcast app, well, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, whatever the particulars are for that app. And then, of course, leave a 5-star review, because the 5-star rating is the most sophisticated rating, and you, by dint of watching this, are a true sophisticate. And while you're enjoying the show, head on over to patreon.com/Craig and Friends. That way, you can help support the show while getting advanced, uncut, and commercial-free versions of these very episodes, as well as a whole host of bonus material, access to movie clubs, Zoom hangouts, and a whole lot more. But you know what? That's enough about that for now. Let's get into my chat with the one, the only, Katie Maloney.
Make believe is not pretend. We might be ill, but we're on the mend. It never starts, it never ends. Welcome to Craig and Friends. Welcome to Craig and Friends. Welcome to Craig and Friends.
Another gift of a situation like a divorce or a massive life change is that you start thinking a lot about so many aspects of your life that are just sort of rolling along every day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think like which ones. But I mean, I just got to wake up every day and be like, what do I want to do today? What does Katie get to do today?
And I wanted to get to that. Like, what do you want to do? Not today, because clearly you wanted to come here, for which I'm very thankful.
Like what do I want to do in...
Just in general, like give me a couple days, pick a couple days recently. Yeah. See, that's what I want to do. That's why I'm non-monogamous.
I mean, it truly depends on the day, but I like that it's just all I have to do is think about myself. I'm not responsible for anyone else or to anyone else. It's just like, just only have to think about myself and like what's going to make me happy. So obviously, like I'm opening up a sandwich shop with Ariana, and that's kind of like my true like main focus right now, because it's a massive undertaking, and it's been something that we've been working towards for a long time. Just like the pre-planning and the whether working with consultants, getting like the budget and concept and branding and everything, like just all of that really crystallized before we even started looking for a location or raising any money, but just having like this really solid plan. Like, what is this place? Like just because we didn't want to do what these guys did when they opened their bar. Just
some
like,
people we know, they did something.
Just like secured a location and then was like, okay, well, what is it going to look like? What, like, it's just like, that's just like, and we trusted people who had done this before and do this for like, that this is the process. And when we talked to them, they're like, it takes like a couple years from like conception to like really opening. It takes like, so for anyone that just wants to say like, oh my God, they're never going to open this place, it's like, no, we're actually like pretty much on track. Like, I mean, like Lisa Vanderpump, she could do this in her sleep, and she's got a team of people, and she also has like
currently liquor license problems, but
I mean, like she's also like, she's got Lisa Vanderpump money. So like,
well, there you go.
So I mean, like that's the thing is like she can snap her fingers and make things happen like so quickly. Like I think she forgets to like, for people that aren't experienced or has the resources, that like it actually is quite challenging, and it doesn't move as quickly as that. But she was very instrumental in us like securing the location that we have. So like we're very grateful for her for that, or to her for that. And
also I know she's been very supportive with reaching out to Ariana, offering shelter, if you will, because of that horrible situation of her still sharing the house, etc. And I was very happy to read that, because that's sort of above and beyond the call of duty.
I know. I was like, I'll go stay at Villa Rosa.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like,
why not?
If you're listening, Ariana, just do it. Like, hop over there just so you could be like, oh, I'm currently living at a place with swans.
With a moat.
Yeah, there's a moat here.
Right. So that's something that I'm focused on, and it feels good because it's been challenging, but it's also been highly educational too, because like
I'll go ahead.
Just like learning, and like I don't think people understand like how much goes into it. It's not just like getting a location, throwing some paint on the wall, designing a menu, and then like opening the doors. It's like, no.
Yeah, right. You got to think about the plumbing.
There's permit. There's so much more you have to think about.
Yeah.
And like, we're doing it like ourselves. Like, yeah, we're reaching out, to get like got an interior designer and like trying to get like a project manager to like really like make sure we're crossing the T's and dotting the I's. But like, it's a lot. Like there's legal stuff. There's, you can't just be willy-nilly about it. Otherwise you're going to end up spending a lot of time and money. And like, yeah, have we been spending time on rent this whole time? Yeah, but we really wanted this location, and we knew that we were going to have to like dig into the pockets for a little while we were, figuring some stuff out, and we were, prepared to like eat that cost a bit just to get this location, because otherwise we were going to
potentially lose the location.
Yeah,
and
like we had to jump on it. So like, yes, that's been a little bit of a ugh, but you know what? It's worth it, because once we open, it's going to be spectacular. So
it is, and congratulations, and it's a great name. Something About Her.
Yeah.
And you already have some merch out.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously the plan was always to have merch. Like that was like something that we were considering, like when we were conceptualizing and everything, was that we wanted to have like a merch retail aspect of it. And so even though like the merch that we have is like slightly different, because we had to like put something out kind of with a quickness a bit, and we wanted something that was like, but so yeah, we're like, well, we should just do it now, because so many amazing people were like, we really want to support Ariana, we want to support the sandwich shop
And support Katie.
And me. I mean, I was sort of, and Katie at the end. I'm like, thanks, guys.
Well, I think
okay.
sometimes because you've gotten so much hate over the years, I think that might occlude your ability to see how much support there is for you and how beloved you are. By the way, my mom, I was talking to her before, and she just wanted to tell you how much of a fan she is of yours on the show, and how gorgeous you're looking, and how happy she is for you stepping into your happiness and like your new era.
Well, thank you. That's so sweet. No, listen. I'm not saying no one does, but
yeah, but
it's just,
I know.
It's been
I
very,
just want to
like,
tell you that.
It's no, I appreciate that, but it's just been very heavy, with support for. And listen,
and also you've gotten like a lot of really vicious stuff over the years, so I understand how it might not be the first thing you think of when you think about how people view you.
Yeah, no, it's not, but it's fine.
But any reminder that can be said, I'll be happy to.
No, it's okay. But like, let's face it. Also,
I mean, of the good stuff.
But let's face it. There's been people really, really rallying for Ariana, and it's good. But they also want to support the sandwich shop. I'm part of the sandwich shop, so like, listen, it's also supported me, whether they say my name directly, indirectly, or not. But so we did launch the merch, but like, we're gonna, come up with some new merch ideas. And then once we open, we're gonna have like some real like custom merch as well too.
That's what.
We're gonna have like a signature scent that's gonna be like a candle and possibly perfume. Like it's gonna be chic,
Well, I have no doubt about that, because also in any and all of your business ventures, or just planning, let's say your apartment. I think I saw a shot of your apartment in your stories today, and I was like, Katie really does it properly. And you helped me when I was on my own in the apartment with the kitchen. I was telling Ada about that, and she was like, "That's so sweet." Because you were like, "Now, come on, you're gonna have dates over. The kitchen looks just a little."
Well, you would have like a roll of paper towels just like on the counter and like nothing else. I'm like,
well, and you know what I would have to tell people? I would say, like, by the way, this is like, it's not that I need a woman's touch. There was a woman here. This is what it looks like because of that woman's touch. So please don't give me that shit. Because like, look at the place now. This is all me.
It's great. But yeah, like I was just like, it's like, no, it was funny. It was funny.
No, it was funny. And you didn't say anything like that to me, but it was very helpful, because also I was just like wandering through the mental swamp of all the stuff going on at the time. The relationship ended, that job stopped, there was a bunch of stuff. So that was very helpful to me. And I always keep it in mind when I am tarting up the kitchen a bit.
Tart it up.
Yeah.
I had so much fun when I was like, I'm gonna have my own space and I can make it look like whatever I wanted. And I mean, like, let's face it, it's not like Tom like held me back, but it's like I always had to consider like it's not just me that lives here.
Yeah.
Even though if I had to make a space for like two people, I could consider like a whatever
you could finally hang up your blacklight posters.
I could do a good I could do a very good job, but like it was just fun to like it was a good way to like a creative outlet that I kind of needed just to like really, and yeah, I'm really, really happy with it.
Well, you need to have your place. Like you need to have, especially in this era, and in this mindset, you need to have your cocoon, if you will. You need to have the place that reflects your feelings, your thoughts about the world, if you will, and just comfort, like the lighting in here. I like to be able to change the colored lighting and all that stuff, and that makes a big difference for me. Or all the throw pillows, you know what I mean? There's just a certain vibe.
Apparently mine is just like disco balls. I have like so many, like it's like that's like the sort of thing. Like my living space is very like, it's colorful but also like warm. There's like lots of plants, and I have like a green like velvet couch, and like there's color. It's like disco balls. It feels very, you know, live, you know, it feels like alive. And then but in my bedroom it's very like neutral, tranquil, like serene.
Yeah,
because that's my place to like just be relaxed.
Yeah.
So it has a totally different vibe in there. Yeah.
Oh, I like having sort of two different zones. I'm going to put some posters up in the bedroom, but I've sort of hedged on that a little bit, thinking which ones do I want? Do I want it to look like this room? And I think I do, but also I keep the lighting totally different than I do in here. I mean, I alternate between, you know, some more lurid evenings. There might be the pink and purple mixed together, but generally it's this soft orange glow, and I never turn it off fully. Something I discovered when Ada was here. It was just very nice. You wake up and there's just a touch of light in the room, and there's just a hint of warmth and everything, which can be good because I still sometimes, not as much after the medication started, can wake up from a nightmare, which was happening every night for a while during the pandemic. Thankfully, that's not happening. And then you launch, and your cortisol's already going. Yeah. So how has your sleep been?
Pretty good. I'd say, like, I still go through this thing like every I would say 6 months. I don't even know if it's like that, but like it's lengthened enough in between where I don't know, there'll be like a period of like a week where I like cannot sleep. I don't know. Maybe that's like something to do with the planets. I don't know. It's weird because it is just like routine like that, where it's like every 6 months. And it's like a week long where I just like, I cannot sleep. I'll like either not be able to fall asleep, or I'm waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, what the fuck? But normally I'm like pretty good. I'm like, it's like, I'm able to get a good night sleep. I also like have to like do certain things or like get the room right. Like I do you know what I got? I got this like, I think I saw it on TikTok. It was one of those like selling something to me. And I was like, I gotta have that. It's like this mushroom light, and you can change the colors. And I like the red light because red is very like, it's actually a good light to like if you want to sleep with a light or something. Yeah. And so I just put on the red setting, and it drips water. Oh wow. And it also like has like a mist that can come out. So if you want to do like aromatherapy in there, some like a little drop of something, but it drips water, so it sounds like rain. So it's like so soothing. That's lovely. I like white noise. I used to like, and sometimes I do, but like I've got to the point where I can't really do the TV on at night. I'll watch TV before I go to sleep, but I really have to turn it off because it like I like just like white noise, or I'll listen to the Calm app. I love the Calm app. I want someone to tell me a story or listen to like some kind of music or something. It's so soothing. So like I'll do that, and that like really helps me get like a good night's sleep.
When you have those bouts of insomnia, how much sleep would you say you average in a night? And do you ever have the thing where you sleep just enough that your body's like, I'm good? And yet,
where it's like, I guess we're going on 2.5 hours. And then I'm like, okay, well, hopefully I'm going to be tired enough tonight where I'll be able to sleep. And then it's like, I'll be so tired. And then I go to lay down, and it's like, ding.
Yeah. You know, during the pandemic, there was one time where, and I think this may have something to do with the condition that I'm medicated for now, but I would con myself into sleeping because it wasn't working. Anytime I got undressed and laid in bed like the traditional way that I would go to sleep, I suddenly wasn't tired. I was exhausted, but I couldn't fall asleep. So I would go, okay, well, that's it. We're up. Because, you know, I say that a lot. I go, we're not doing that. Or like I did that Christmas, remember, I told you about. Well, I'll get into that later. So I would lay fully clothed on top of the comforter and watch something and kind of a comfort film or something. Although one time it was like Death Wish 3, the Charles Bronson film. But, hey, look, we take comfort where we can. And then I would sort of drift off, but I knew almost what I was doing. I would drift off. I would end up sleeping fully clothed, but then I would sleep like 8 to 10 hours.
But you would trick yourself because you wouldn't be like in bed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Thankfully, I don't have to do that anymore. But
I took a nap the other day for like, I don't nap, but I was like laying on the couch. I was like, I think I'm going to close my eyes. And I like took a nap, which is so weird because I don't nap. I can't nap. I was always jealous of people that could nap.
I nap a fair amount now.
Oh, I'm like, is it an age thing?
No.
Okay,
It's the ability to still one's mind for me. Also, if I'm having an onset of the thing, I call it, the best thing for me to do is to get a little sleep. And sometimes that means that I sleep longer than I meant to. But generally I wake up feeling better. Every once in a while I'll wake up and be in the same stink mood or something like that. But a little sort of break, a divider in the day helps me.
Yeah. I just feel like I'm one of those people that I get up really early.
Yeah.
My average like wake up time is like, I'm like average 7 sometimes, but that's like early. Like I don't need what business do I have waking up that early?
Yeah, well, you gotta get on the overseas stock market stuff, right?
No, but I kind of like it because it's like I can just be kind of just laying there still, like and just messing around. I can look on my phone, or I can watch something on TV, or I read something, or what. I just get to like hang out before I don't feel like I'm slacking off into the day, and then by the time I do feel like I get up and it's like still early.
Yeah, no, I like that as well. But
then I get tired around like 4 or 5, and I'm just like, man, like, and then I'm like, got plans to go out, and we're not leaving the house till like 9:30, and I'm like, I'm already been awake for way too many hours, and I'm tired. So I'm like, but I don't want to switch it, and start sleeping in. Like I feel like I'm too old to be sleeping. I don't know why I have these conditioned ideas and thoughts of like what I should and shouldn't be doing, because it's like,
this is another thing, to think about also, because as you know, my sleep schedule has traditionally just been rotating all the time. It's a little bit more consistent now, but I've accepted a few years ago, like, okay, this is my wiring. Yeah. This is how it's going to happen. And so instead of going, oh my God, I did this again, I just switched over to, okay, let's get up and do something. And then like last night I woke up after 3 hours, was kind of in a bit of a mood, took a little bit of Xanax. It's a tool. And also because I have generalized anxiety disorder. So it's a whole bunch of acronyms. ADHD, GAD, bipolar doesn't really have an acronym. We could call it BP, but
you got quite the alphabet over there.
Yeah, exactly. I have an alphabet of things. So I think the thing is figuring out what works for you. For me, it's also watching a movie. That's like
I just wish I had a little bit more of like a routine. You know what I mean? Like I don't have like a job where I wake up and I go to work at this time. Thank God, because I don't really want that. But I wish I just had like a little bit more of like a general sort of like, this is mostly kind of like how the day goes. And I could do that, but I'm not really good about implementing it on my own. Like, because I'll be like, I don't feel like doing that, and I don't have to do that. I can do whatever I want, But every day's still like so different, because there are so many different things that I have going on, but they're like always at different times and different locations. And so like, it's never things that always start at 10 or 11. Sometimes they're not till 3.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not till noon, or, so it's like, even though I'll have stuff going on almost daily, it's never at the same time. So it's like, I don't have like a routine I can get on. And it's just like, I could put but it's like, I don't go to like a gym, but I still like, I'm active. Like I'll go for like a walk. I don't know. I'm not going to be one of those people that like has like a strict routine. But however, when the sandwich shop opens, then I have something to go and do every day. So you know what? I'm just going to keep on my regular schedule of waking up earlier than I need to.
A friend of mine was talking about how they feel like right now is a gestation period for them. And I feel like it is for me, because of the plans that we were discussing about like YouTube and other things. And also we just had a child. So sometimes we have like slower moments or slower times where there isn't a need for rigidity in a schedule. But that's going to come.
Yeah. So I think this is a bit of a gestation period for myself as well, because things are about to get mad hectic. So I'm just going to enjoy the calm before the storm. Even though it's like not super calm, I'm just going to enjoy this time.
Yeah, I think you should, because also it's only after things kick up again that you go, Jesus, I had a lot of time that I could have just sort of hung out and relaxed. And if you get up at 7, just, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, no, because every single time I'm just like, I'm so busy. I'm like, ugh, I miss those days where I'm like complaining that like I don't have anything to do for like half the day. And I'm like, no. Listen, I'm just like never going to be satisfied.
Well, that's the beauty of life, isn't it? Never quite being satisfied. But I think the key is going, what is it about me that is unchangeable, that I don't need to change, but it's just ingrained notions of what I should do. And I think a lot of shoulds are really not helpful.
Yeah, I would agree.
I want to make sure that there's nothing that I feel like there's other stuff to talk about. And I've really enjoyed it so far. And so I'm going to try to make the next 10 minutes not nice for anyone. Now, what kind of vape is that?
It's just a naked, boring ass one that they have to sell here now because all the assholes that voted.
Juul thing?
And I order them from a website.
I would too. I have
They're
been.
Cheaper.
Well, yeah, they are. If you bulk order.
But yours like vintage over there. That's a relic.
I know. Well, you know what? In England, I have the Juul 2, which will never come to the States because of the FDA being so difficult about everything. And vapes are so much cheaper over in the UK. Now, you get a 2-pack of these Juul 2s. I'll show you the device.
2?
I'll show you the device. It's a little wider than the Juul. I'll show the camera. But the cartridge goes down to about here. So it's got maybe 50% more in each cartridge.
Wow.
But they don't have 5% nicotine over there. It's stopped at 3.
Okay, that's good.
I adjust okay to that, but here I go with the full 5. And it's in my hand constantly. I go to sleep with it. But this is the vintage one. But I'm sticking with Juul as long as I can get the bulk shipments online. The other day I went to Smoke for Less on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Smoke for Less.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Yeah.
They have a poppers fridge there.
What? A fridge?
A fridge. That's how you keep them.
Right,
best.
but
Yeah.
like that is so funny.
Well, I know that you're skilled in the art of poppers, but
not really. Just
no, not really. I'm just making a joke.
skilled
of
in the
course.
art. I'm like, there was a
brief dalliance, should we say?
I haven't like the last time I did popper was on New Year's.
That's a good time to do it. Which New Year's?
This past New Year's.
Oh, fantastic.
It was so funny. Someone had it and I was like, wait, I gotta smell that and make sure it's okay.
No,
I
exactly.
was laughing so hard. They were laughing because they're like, you're like.
Well, people have the funniest reaction to poppers because some
Oh my
people
God.
only see it as a tool for one specific thing, sex. And then other people know that you can enjoy it in the bedroom or on the dance floor or just like for fun. You can have a little hit of it.
I've never actually done that with in
A sexual context.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's often for anal sex purposes to release the smooth muscles. I find that the most hilarious and kind of gross thing. It's what it says in the textbooks, but there you are.
Smooth muscles.
The smooth muscles. Coming up next, the smooth muscles.
What is a smooth muscle?
I think it's something to do with the, I think one group of them would be the muscles in the ass.
Well, right, but why is it called a smooth muscle?
You got me. I think I stopped reading after that because I just liked it. Also liked not knowing quite what they are, but that's what they are. So
Got you.
I'll have to do some research and then follow up on that. Any listeners who are aware of this, do write in. But yeah, they have a huge poppers fridge, which used to be on the sales floor, which is very fun to see. Because you can't ask for poppers by the name poppers. You have to say do you have brand name? Like for instance,
Jungle Juice.
There you go.
That's the only one I know.
The best though was when I had the Jungle Juice, and then after a week, he said, "No, get the premium black."
It was like Jungle Juice Extreme or something.
Yeah,
or
no,
like
that's the one.
The
Yeah.
Max or something.
Yeah,
It had
yeah.
the silver label.
Yes, yeah,
I'm
exactly.
I think I'm an expert because there's a week where I
No, but what was great is I was like, you know what? She commits to finding out what the best version is.
well
Of anything.
because I went to Pleasure Chest and I was like, do you have the Jungle Juice? And they're like, which one? I'm like, which one is the best? And they're like, okay, well this one, and I like this one. I was like, then I'll do that one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then you stepped up my game. which I was thankful for. One other thing, folks, don't buy the large bottle. It seems like a value, but they spoil. No, they spoil.
They will. Yeah, don't. It's a waste of money.
It's a waste of
unless
money.
you're going to go crazy, but like also like don't.
Yeah, please don't do that. And also don't do what an associate of ours did once and take a sip of it.
Did he? I think he's joking.
I don't think so. I think he was showing off that he's a tough guy and he could deal. Remember? Because you guys called me and they were like, what happens?
Well, because he like went to the bathroom with it, which I don't know why. It was like,
oh, it wasn't observed.
No, it wasn't observed. It wasn't observed. But he came back and I was like, he's like, I took a drink. I don't know. It wasn't observed, but I was just like, shouldn't you be dead right now? He's like, but he's like a giant. So like,
well, he's a giant, but you could be any size. You could be Andre the Giant. It's still going to possibly eat away at your insides. I did hear later on that he had quite the stomach ache. And I said, well, he got off lightly.
Then maybe he did. But also like, I don't know. He was drunk.
What a shock. What a shock. In that environment, there was a lot of partying in this building when you lived here. Not necessarily because of you, but it's just at the time there was a lot of partying.
Yeah. Which
was interesting. I kind of like, I mean, I miss having you upstairs, I got to say. But overall, I don't really mind not knowing anyone in the building. It's kind of, I know them, but I don't have any contact.
I don't know anyone in my building. Kristen technically lives on the same property, but it's like in a separate building.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you'd have to go like outside and like through like another gate and into another building. So it's like, it's basically like she lives in like the building next door.
Yeah.
It's like being like neighbors, but like, yeah, I think people think that she like lives like down the hall, like the way Jackson Brittany did or the way you like live down, but like, no, it's like a separate building.
And that's good. You know, it's nice to have a little bit of distance between people.
But yeah, other than that, like I don't know anyone in my building.
Which is a nice thing, I think. You know,
listen, it's good to like have someone nearby because like if you get like locked out or like, if you get a package, like it's good that there's somebody like close by for like safety or things like that, you know. But when it's like sort of like you don't, you know, sometimes it's like you don't always want to be like available.
Exactly. You don't always want to be in the mix with the other people. That was something that I found difficult for a while with that. I mean, that relates to that other situation, but by the way, that, you know, that at your wedding, we all stayed in the same cabin and they went to go swimming for 90 minutes. Parallels. Not to mention anything specific from either side. It's not with you, if anyone's wondering, but there's something related to the show that we might be talking about. But
friends mixing with friends.
Yes, exactly. And people who are pretending to be friends with other people who are nice people. So
yep. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, just friends putting their beans in other friends' girlfriends or something like that.
And the whole buildup. I mean, in either of those situations or a hypothetical one, the amount of time spent pretending to be a friend, and it's like that's darker than the act itself. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, that's like, I think that's the issue that people with like the Scandoval that aren't familiar with it all or try to say like, well, everyone cheats, and I'm like, not like this. Not like this. And like, yeah, cheating, yeah, you're right. People cheat, do it all the time, but like typically they're not cheating on their girlfriend with like their girlfriend's best friend for like months and months and months and months and months and months. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or under their nose, possibly in the same residence.
Not in the room next door.
Yeah, no. That was a little close to home in terms of the parallels.
Yeah, not
for me.
Not in the apartment.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, a minor difference, but you know, roughly, maybe if you mapped out the actual physical distance with some kind of measuring device, maybe it's about the same distance.
But maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have like another friend who's like just so many people just doing shit with people that they're not supposed to. It's like, why is everyone doing this?
Because I think that's the essence of the immorality of it. Yeah, it is something in the air. I think also, though we're loath to talk about the pandemic, there's some things different after the pandemic. In some ways, there's good things. Like you realize what you realized. Who knows how much the pandemic had to do with that. I met Ada because we were in lockdown and doing Zooms, and that's how that happened. She was going to be a guest on the show, etc. So like there was no silver lining, but things happened. And I think that people socially are a great deal different than they were. Matter of fact, and I'll tell you who this is after the show, someone who I thought was one of my dearest friends iced me last April. They said they didn't want to be a bad friend as I was going on this journey to be a dad and all this stuff. And they had a lot of things going on in their life. And it'll be for a couple months. I'm not going to talk, whatever the fuck. I'll tell you the specifics later. I've never heard from them since. You're going to be really surprised when you find out who it is.
Is it who I think it is?
You can say it and I'll bleep it or cut it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really shocking. I was not in a good way around that time. But.
Dang.
Yeah, exactly. And no word about congratulations or they had a loss.
Did it just come out of nowhere?
It really felt like it did. The key is if something offends, because I would think, oh, at first, my nature would be, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe this. You think if someone has an issue with you and they don't say it and you're not aware of it, how are you supposed to be aware of it?
Right.
And this is someone who we were there for each other many, many times in many, many ways.
For many years.
For many, many years.
Yeah, so it's that's a bummer.
It's a dragon, but it's up to them now. But I can't reach out because that's tolerating it. That's tacitly accepting the treatment. So there's been no contact. I mean, I wrote a reach out letter or email. That was even like way too friendly. That was a little too like not acknowledging the anger. Now I'm in a better place with it. I'm like, that's it. That's fine. It's just how it is. And maybe one day it'll change.
It's just so crazy. Like, cause it's interesting because he has come up twice in like the last 2 weeks. Just like, that's so, yeah.
It's strange, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are activities I was made aware of accidentally. And at first it bummed me out. And then the next time it happened, it was weird. I felt like completely removed from it, for which I'm thankful. And I think also, again, the medication and everything, which anyone who's not aware of yet, because I've been talking about it, and I will continue to, it's Lamictal, the only mood stabilizer that does not ruin your sex drive, guaranteed not to anyway, and will not make you gain weight. So check this out. Ask your doctor if Lamictal or Lamictal, aka lamotrigine, is right for you.
Sell it.
I'm trying to. I want to make sure people are getting the care they need, because right now, even like people with Adderall prescriptions can't get their shit filled.
Oh, right. I heard that.
Yeah, it's fucked up. There's a lot of weird shit going on. Diabetes, medication, shortages.
Yeah, because everyone wants to lose weight.
I was blown away when I found out that's what it is. Would you mind describing it for people who might not be aware of what the deal is?
Well, there's Ozempic, and then there's I think there's like one or two other like brands that are like similar. They have the same ingredients or whatever that offer the same effects. But yeah, technically, yeah. So for people that are on diabetes that have, that need their blood sugar and insulin balanced out, like they take Ozempic, and it's, helps them keep their weight under control and everything balanced out for themselves. But they found that drastically helps people lose weight drastically.
Yeah.
And apparently they don't know right now if there's any real risk for people that don't have those same set of issues.
Yeah. But people who are really like, I gotta stay thin.
I mean, I would imagine. Like, unless I would imagine that doctors know enough to like know that like they're not gonna like lose their license over it.
Yeah, I know exactly.
So
like they know
it's
not deadly.
Yeah, but I do know that like anytime you're gonna lose that kind of weight that quickly, you gotta stay on. You know what I mean? Unless you're willing to commit to changing lifestyle, diet, everything. It's gonna come back.
No, it's gonna come back. What have you found to be a sustainable way to arrive at the body that you wanted to arrive at? I mean, I have my sort of systems, and I also have a history, like years ago, an eating disorder, but which I consider to never go away. It presents in different ways with body dysmorphia and stuff, but it's a managed thing.
Try to accept your body for where it's at before you go on that journey. Even if it's not, it doesn't need to be the whole body of itself, but like try to practice speaking to yourself in a way that's not negative talk all the time.
Yes.
Which is difficult when you have any kind of like ED or body dysmorphia, I know, but like
It's not impossible though.
it's not impossible. It's like just a few little things in the morning, in the afternoon, you know, like not avoiding looking at yourself in the mirror, like, but just like really any kind of acceptance that you can do before you go on that journey. But then also like really like diving into like nutrition too, or like if it is kind of like, if there is any bit of like food intolerances, or, you know, for me, I did have high blood sugar. Like I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic.
Oh,
like
wow.
my blood sugar levels were like 126, and that is pre-diabetic.
Right.
So they didn't offer me a Ozempic. Just kidding. No, like no one even like mentioned that to me. But I worked with a nutritionist, so he had me measure my blood sugar like every day. And he's like, okay, so like maybe it's possible that your body's not producing enough insulin, but you know, you can change your diet and change the way you eat meals, so that way your blood sugar can come down, your body's going to start producing insulin naturally.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like learning about like different carbohydrates and how our body, you know, processes them, and what it does, like when it does enter the bloodstream, like, and how you can combine foods and how your body's going to, you know,
Deal with it.
how it's going to deal with it. Yeah. So having just really basic, like more understanding and knowledge of really basic nutrition. And it became like, when he explained it, it was like very obvious stuff that I'm like, oh my God. And it became just kind of like second nature. And also like learning hunger cues, not eating because I'm bored, not overeating, like, okay, I'm full now. So it became eating slower, you know? And so it's like, was like, yeah, portions were part of it, but just also like not, so you don't like overfill your plate, but like also like, you just also learn like, I'm full now. So you kind of start to learn like, okay, like this is about as much as I usually eat now.
Yeah. Which can change also. You, like, you know, if you, especially slowing down eating allows your body the time it takes, about 20 minutes, to recognize that you're full.
Yeah, exactly. But also like removing the moral value from food.
Yes.
So like there's no bad foods. There's not like, oh my God, I can't have that, it's so bad. It's like, no, it's not bad. Should you have it every day? Probably not, because like we know what happens if we eat cake every day. You know what I mean? It's like, it's probably just like not the best thing. We know that.
Yeah.
But like you can have it. Absolutely.
And also putting that into your mind that it's bad, I can't have it, I shouldn't have it, oh, if God, if I have it, I'm bad. It makes you think about it more. And the more you're thinking about it, the more taboo it is, the more you're drawn to it, and then you'll have it and then beat yourself up. And the key, I think, with everything is try to figure out where you're beating yourself up, because more than likely you are about something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And work against that. And it's not easy. But self-compassion is a massive thing. I had a moment the other day when I was talking about something to do with Peter, my son, for those who don't know. And we were talking about something, and I can't remember how it came about, but Ada said, you know, when you have those horrible self-immolating thoughts, think about this. Would you say that to Peter?
Yeah.
And absolutely not.
Well, people do the same thing, that they'll find a picture of themselves, like a young, you know, when their favorite age of like their childhood or something, and there's a picture that they love. Yeah. And they'll put it on their mirror. And anytime they're having like a negative self-talk moment, they'll be like, they'll look at that picture and be like, never say that to this, you know. So it's like a similar thought process.
Very similar. And actually that reminds me of the genesis of this conversation, was that my aunt Carol found a picture of me at roughly Peter's age and sent it to my mom. And we look so much alike at that age that my mom and Ada, for a split second, thought that she was confused. She was like, how did your mom get this like photograph of Peter? Wait, what? Oh, wait, that's you.
Oh, wow.
And then that's what I was like, wow. And I've said before, looking into his eyes, I feel like I'm looking into me. And one of the main things we want to do, and we've had endless conversations about this, is how to put into practice the things we want to do to prevent him from having certain struggles that we may have had in our lives, even about tone of voice and like yelling or any of those things. Yeah.
They call it gentle parenting.
Yeah, because someone told me something interesting, that you can reparent yourself through the process.
Oh, I like that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. That's nice.
I think also the tropes of parenting being a huge burden, that is, like you said, in films and TV, or the marriage being. I was talking to my mom and I said they depict marriage as this thing where it's either like this glorious thing, or it's this thing that's obviously, it's sexless and it's everyone, they kind of resent each other. And at the worst end of it, it's like the King of Queens thing where there's the harpy woman who nags the guy who's a dumb guy.
It's like, oh, the wife.
Yeah,
The wife. It's like,
yeah, the ball and chain.
I hate it all.
I hate all of that shit. And I like that now that there's a term for it, like heteronormative.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like that. I grew up watching that. So it's like, so the thing is, so that's why when we find ourselves in these scenarios where that treatment, it's like normalized a bit.
It's normalized, and also we can slide into these ready roles almost at any time. It takes a lot of continual self-awareness because life is hard. Life is full of... Go ahead.
But it's, sorry, no, I'm saying it's like, it's the heteronormative bullshit of it all, but it's also like, it doesn't feel good. Just because it's like normalized, it doesn't mean it feels good.
Yeah. It's no different than your friends like to, I don't know, either rock climb or go to the club, whichever one resonates more with whoever's listening about which one they would not like to do. But going along because, well, that's what you do, or drinking. Well, it's what everyone does if you're not enjoying it, or if it's not working for you, etc. A lot of life, I think one of the keys, obviously not the secret to life, but one of the keys is that, like, just don't do what feels wrong for you. And especially with like dating, Ada and I met up with someone and we were like, and we realized, oh, that weird feeling we're feeling afterwards, which all of us have had on a date. You know, when you're thinking too much about, like, I don't know, do I like them? I mean, they were kind of interesting. I mean, they had a couple funny jokes, but that is the teller right there.
Yeah.
That there is something wrong. We were talking about something in your life where you got the ick about something.
I was going to say it's the ick.
It's the ick.
It's the ick, and you gotta. That's the indicator to walk away.
Yeah.
To let it go.
Because too often we tell ourselves the opposite of that. Well, I should give them a chance. I shouldn't be so judgmental. I think there's a little bit too much benevolence that is drummed into us as something that we have to give other people. At the same time, not give ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I think, okay, there's a difference between being open-minded and having benefit of the doubt and then completely ignoring a red flag or like an ick like that. Like, okay, you'll know the difference.
You will feel it in your gut. That is your intuition.
Yeah. we've been judgy and if you're not sure, tell it to a friend that you trust their opinion, who's like, you know, pretty street smart and wise. And if they tell you like, that's truly like not a big deal and you're being just like kind of like a little judgmental about it, probably let it go. And if you tell them and they're like, ma'am, like, that's an absolute no.
Like when your friends hear about something that may have happened with someone you're dating, like something I may have told you about that person that was here for a little while that was horrifying. And people were like, what? They did what? Or like that kind of thing.
Are we like not being specific enough? Okay. I'm just come up with an example. If there's a guy and he like, I don't know, let's say like what's like a non-ick, but it's just sort of like a slight maybe annoyance that you could probably just give him another chance on because maybe he was having a whatever off day.
This is not stuff like, oh, he's a big gamer and that's not my thing. It's not that kind of stuff. It's stuff like maybe I'm trying to find the right thing, like something like he's really shitty to the waiter.
Yeah, if a guy is like an asshole to any kind of like service industry person, like that's an ick, red flag, don't see him again. But yeah, if a guy's like, if he's like into like video games, okay, maybe that just means like you don't really have that in common, but do you have like other things in common? Maybe you need to give him another chance to like find out what else he's into. You know, same thing like if you're not into like, maybe he's like into like super into like country music and you're not really a big fan, not necessarily a deal breaker, but like maybe hopefully there's some other common interests.
Because I think people do this a lot. They run down the inventory of the person's likes and interests, and they find the one thing.
And they hold on to it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't like that. So, yeah, they either hold on to it and enter a relationship with them and then carp about it all the time. Mm-hmm. Instead of being finding it something charming or funny, that they're like, oh well, he's doing his thing right now, or she's doing his thing right now.
Yeah, because I also think having those different interests can make it more interesting and fascinating when you have like your own things going on. The last thing you should do is also pretend that you're into country music and, you know, adopt his personality or her personality and pretend that, you know, like that's when you see that happening, because we all had those friends before and you're like, oh God.
Oh, it's so...
The shapeshifters are like, those are like,
God,
those
ghoulish.
are the ghoulish. But that's the thing. I think like, it's okay for them to be into things that you're not into, even if you don't understand it or whatever. But I mean...
Yeah, you want them to be their own person too.
Exactly, because
ideally,
yeah. Well, yeah, because remaining an individual with your own like kind of identity is hard to do in relationships because you still will lose it a bit.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Because there's this third thing, which is the relationship, or however you want to term it, this other entity that is you and the person. Mm-hmm. And there's that and the things you're mutually interested in. But for instance, with Ada and I, Ada loves football, specifically the Patriots. I can't follow a game.
She does?
It's great. I love that she has a tattoo.
Is she from here?
She's from London, but spent a good amount of time in Massachusetts.
I thought she's from... Okay.
Yeah, but has family in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And has a big fondness for the New England Patriots, who sometimes I accidentally call the Massachusetts Patriots. And I grew up there. This is how much I care about sports.
Yeah.
If someone said, oh, this person's on the team, that person's on the team, I'd go, okay, because I have no idea.
Right.
I love that my dad loves sports. I'm happy that I don't have to sit there and watch it with him. I like when anyone is into anything.
Yeah.
Because it means that they're enjoying their life.
Yeah.
And
like a passion.
Yeah, passion. That's another thing. I think if you're dating someone and they don't have any seeming of passion for anything, huge red flag.
Dullsville.
Yeah, super Dullsville. Like, what the hell are you going to talk about? Yeah, like, you know, I'm a movie fanatic and Ada loves movies, but, you know, there's a certain cutoff point in terms of like how much.
Well, there's a difference between like loving it in movies and enjoying them and then being a fanatic. Like,
and I'm a fanatic. By the way, we're taping on Quentin Tarantino's birthday, so happy birthday, Quentin.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that you know it's Tarantino's birthday.
Well, I just found out today. I did look it up once before because they mentioned it on the Video Archives podcast, his podcast.
And then you just committed it to memory?
No. I'd maybe go, oh, they taped these well in advance. When is his birthday? I went and looked it up, promptly forgot it. Then I saw something on Instagram today. However, over there in that cardboard box, which I'm going to be making an unboxing video later for, Video Archives sent me a customer package, like, because I was posting stuff and everything. They sent out customer packages to a slew of people who like were supportive or whatever. So that's going to be fun. I have my own membership card for Video Archives. So, but back to what we're talking about, I think the thing about also like finding the thing that's wrong with people is another problem that people have when they're afraid of commitment. They don't even realize they're afraid of it. Yeah, self-sabotage.
Oh God, they're afraid of commitment. It's always the people that also like want the relationships the most, or like talk about like relationships or complain about being single, that do that shit.
100%, because it's also this amorphous concept. I want a relationship. I want a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. It's not, I want to find someone who is the right fit. Well,
sometimes they even do talk like that, but then it's like they self-sabotage every kind of avenue or person, or even like what person that could potentially be right, you know, like, and it's just like the same bullshit over. It's like, do you really though? Because like I'm starting to think that you don't, or you don't even know what you want specifically, that like you're just like walking aimlessly through life. I find that interesting, because I feel like I have several people in my life who do talk about, who are always, they are like the hashtag forever alone, hashtag like I just want my person, or I just want to get married, and I just want kids, and I want this. But then the minute they get with somebody, it's like the tiniest little things are catching the ick, or the, you know, and I'm just like, that's fine if you want to be selective or picky, but like you are actively like repelling people.
Yeah. Oh, you are, because again, the energy that you're putting out there is what you're going to get back.
But it's like they think that they're putting out the right energy because they're trying to manifest or ask, you know, they think they're putting out the energy because they're constantly talking about I really want to get married. I really want kids. I really want this. So they think by talking about that, they're going to be attracting the type of people that also want those things. But so the minute that they do that, somebody that wants those same things walks into their life and they're like, hi, like I want those things too. And like, da, da, da. And the minute that person tries to get close to them, they're like, Heisman, like get the fuck away from me.
Yeah. Because they don't maybe really want it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't think you want those things.
Right. But yet sometimes for people, it's too scary to think about what do they actually want. And it's also a way to avoid thinking about themselves.
What do you mean? Like
thinking about what they actually want, what matters to them.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of them are not in their mid-30s because that's really the key time to start thinking about that stuff. But I think it's something that you should never really lose sight of because you can easily, which is one of the things I freaked out about when first finding out that we were having a child and everything. Because you immediately think, oh my God, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And then we won't be able to do this. I think self-limiting beliefs.
Those...
They have
so loud.
Outdoors. Wait, I'm gonna just
the self-limiting beliefs will be your greatest obstacle.
Yeah, and hobgoblin, because if you have self-limiting beliefs, you're guaranteeing when people say you can't, or someone says, "Well, I can't do that," or "I couldn't do that." Mm-hmm. Guess what? You can't because you've just decided that. Yep. And that goes for everything: relationships, business.
Well, yeah. There's people that cannot get out of their own way.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't want to.
Well, I know, but they don't want to, but they are so tragically unaware of how to, and or that they even are. And you can tell them that. You can tell them all day long. Well, I think maybe have you unpacked some of these reasons why that like anytime anyone tries to get close to you, or why you have to feel like no one is good enough for you, or they're just like, well, I don't agree with that, or like, well,
yeah, that's crazy.
Of course I have. And it's like, well, I just think that like perhaps it might be you and not these other people.
Yeah. Which is a question we always have to ask ourselves when something either goes south or there's not the dynamic between people that there used to be. But again, back to even that person we were talking about before, the one that was very hurtful to me last year, sometimes things just end. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing too.
You have to just let it go.
So we talked about what's wrong with everyone else.
It's my specialty.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Good.
Well, I think it's an outgrowth of your self-awareness because you can't be aware of other people's foibles unless you're aware of your own, and also pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Because people do the same stuff all the time. Like that's the people who just roll into another relationship while they're already in one.
Well, because God forbid they be left with their own fucking demons to have to like remind them of,
Yeah, right. Without a support staff to have a cheerleader. And sometimes I think those folks get into a thing where they can whip themselves into a premise that it's them against the world and like everyone's against us and like, no, you know what I mean? And I'm talking about my ex situation and all that stuff. Remember they used to hide out from people and stuff? It's like that whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's almost like an addiction. It's just a fantasy world. Mm-hmm. Very dangerous one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen lots of friends.
Yeah.
I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, but like that truly have just gone from one relationship to the next. And I've seen them not grow as an individual. Like they're the same person I met, 10, 12, 15 years ago, longer even. And I'm just like, damn, like that's so unfortunate. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that like they just have not themselves been on their own.
Yes.
To spread their like wings, to just like be just alone.
And to that.
Alone. Like
yeah, like exactly.
Because again, when like we were talking about like with your identity kind of like being wrapped up into a relationship, when you come out of something, like it takes like a significant amount of time, I think, to like really like connect with like your like yourself and like your like on a multiple levels, on a emotional, mental, spiritual, all those levels. It
Yeah.
takes a serious, because you have to like also like get through a lot. You have to work through a lot of pain, and they don't ever do that. They bottle that up, find just someone else the next one, and then they just like replace.
Yeah, replace, and then continue to talk about people as if they were done wrong.
Yep.
That's a big narrative, and it's a very attractive one sometimes. Well, because it's an outgrowth of like self-pity and also not wanting to admit that they might have something that they need to work on. It's easier to say it's everyone else's fault, and I think we're all capable of it. But self-awareness is really the key to all that, and they're deliberately keeping themselves in that situation or that type of activity from that. And back to the thing about being alone. Remember we had a conversation prior to Christmas last year, because I really wanted to express to you that like it's going to be fucking weird. You're glad you're not with them anymore. You're thrilled actually.
Yeah.
But holidays are fucking weird, and I like to get that message out to listeners.
It was awful. The Christmas was terrible. Like that whole like starting a little bit before Thanksgiving, and then through like Christmas, like through like the end of it was really bad.
Yeah.
Like it was like a miserable time, because like I had spent like every Christmas for the last like 12 years, but essentially, you know, well, not everyone, but like basically like with him, or like he was in my life, you know, and like the holidays are just like really time. And I unpacked like decorations, and we had like our ornaments that was like first Christmas day, like little bride and groom. I'm like, oh my God, way to just kick me in the fucking gut, you know. And I asked, and then I had his ornaments, and so I pulled them out of storage, and I told him like, I'm gonna go get the ornaments. I know I have your stuff, so like I'm gonna get it, you know. And I put these aside, and I was like, I don't know if you like want these or not. And he's like, yeah, I'll take them. I'm like, all right, you know what I mean?
Do you mean the ones that were the joint ones,
the
like
sentimental ones? Like our first, like
because in my mind I was trying to think maybe he had something that was like you know, like a Coors Light thing or something.
No, like the family ones, like Katie, Tom, Butter, Gordo, like our first like bride and groom, or like he wasn't gonna like put them on his tree, I don't think, but just having them. I always think about certain items, get them out. There was someone who had given me this rather expensive bathrobe from the Madonna Inn. I threw that fucking thing out real fast. Because it's like, this has energy attached to it. Well, I mean, listen, there's things that like he's given me like as presents, like birthday, Christmas presents or whatever, that like I'm not gonna trash that, but it's like, and I still like in my storage in a box where I have like our wedding album, because it's like I just felt like I can't throw it out. Just I know there'll come a time where it's gonna feel just fine just to like be fully done with it. But
and again, like you said, it wasn't all bad, and you know, it's a mixture of things.
Yeah,
that very wisely, you know, will feel differently later on in life.
Yeah, but like when you're, you know, 3 months post separation, pending divorce and all that, and you're packing up your house, and you keep coming across things, and you're like, what do I do? So I just kept putting them in like boxes that were going to like storage and all that. I'm like, this isn't for today. It's like
that's very smart.
This isn't for today, because like it feels like throwing it in the trash. Like I couldn't do it, you know. But the Christmas ornaments, I didn't feel that way with. I was like, I could put these in the trash right now and be fine. It'd be sad, but it's just like I just didn't want them. But the fact that he's like, yeah, I'll take them. I'm like, you're so weird. On the show, he was like he had a stylist come to his house and like was helping him go through his clothes to get his style back on, and he was going through like, I got him a pair of Gucci like slip-on shoes that are like dope, and he's like, oh, Katie got me those shoes, and like they're like, oh, is it a good idea to have a bunch of stuff that your ex gave you? I'm like, you can't keep a pair of Gucci shoes? Like, yeah, but you want the Christmas ornaments?
Yeah, that's a strange.
You got a picture of me on your damn fridge. Like I'm coming around there, and you need to like make me feel like I'm, you know, part of the family. Like, it didn't make sense. I was like, please do not throw away your Gucci shoes. I will. I'll
keep them safe or for a while until you come around to your senses. Almost.
Like, are you joking? And like, I was just kind of like you can do it. It's yours. You can do what you want, but I wasn't like throwing out my Opal ice maker because like, ugh.
Oh, we got that when we were together.
He got that for me for my birthday, and I just can't. Like, it's a fuck. It was a gift for my birthday. Like, there's a lot of things we've gotten for each other over the years, and yeah, some of them are sentimental. Like went in a box that I was just like, I don't know, but like, I'm not putting like shoes away. They're shoes. I walk around the piss on the streets in those. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really. You know, it's just so strange. But anyway, but
no, there's some things.
The holidays were rough, really rough, but you just weren't there's a bunch of like firsts that pop up, you know, after like breakups, like the week of our, you know, what would have been our 6th wedding anniversary, which also was the same week that we closed on our house, so like that was like really tough, which is also the same week that we went to Cancun for Sheena's wedding and he made out with Raquel, so just totally like decided to just take a shit on our friendship that we were trying to, and just disrespect my feelings. That I just asked him, just so you know, like if we want to be friends, like I just that would really hurt my feelings, so could you not?
Kind of also, if I'm correct, the one thing that you had requested in that
just
way.
Well, like listen, you can do what you want, but like it's gonna hurt my feelings. So if you care about my feelings, if you care about our friendship, just like don't. But you know, like, but you're like fucking people. Well, yeah, you can fuck people. All of them. All of LA if you want.
Fuck all the people.
All of them.
Yeah.
If you want. Like this isn't a matter of like I'm allowed to hook up with people and you aren't. But like whoever I'm hooking up with, you don't know them.
You're not aware of the details.
But like you.
Or having it memorialized in footage that you're probably going to see a few times.
Yeah. I've seen a billion times. But you also like, they're not a contact in your phone. They're not somebody that like you've kicked it with a billion times. You've gone on trips with. They've been inside our like house. Like you don't know this person. This person is a literal stranger to you. And that's by fucking design. Cause like that is what you do when you like want to respect the person that you were with for 12 years and that you're trying to be friends with and their feelings. Because, and you can sit there and say like, oh, I don't really care. I don't care if you want to. Well, okay, but like I care because I think at the end of the day you might, and we don't know that, and I'm not willing to find out. I'm not trying to test those waters.
You don't want to jeopardize his feelings by fucking around with that.
Yeah, because you never know until to me, I didn't know until it became like a real like possibility, and then I was like, I don't think I like this. I really don't think I like this. So could we not?
Yeah, and
just that you just couldn't help yourself.
Well, it was just so appealing.
But I mean, I think that's just the whole like argument of just like, well, you're the one that wanted the divorce. You left him, dude. It's like
that's immaterial. That's immaterial.
Yeah,
someone has to make the decision.
And are we forgetting why?
Right. Well, you know, women are often looked at in an entirely different way in these situations than men are.
Mm-hmm.
That like if I'm trying to think of the most obvious one, but if like a guy left a woman, or you know, if they say like, well, they really weren't as affectionate to me as they should have been, and you know, I had no other choice. That sometimes is more defended or accepted or something like that. The thing is, if there's something like that going on in a relationship, the honorable and decent thing to do, particularly if you do have any kind of affection or respect for the other person, is to end the relationship, or at the very least, talk about it.
Yeah. And I did everything I could.
Yeah.
People have been seeing the entirety almost of our relationship. It's no mystery what went on.
No.
And for many, many years, I had to justify not leaving him to people because people could not understand why I stayed with him. And then I leave him and people are like, what? You left him. Why? I'm like, yeah, no shit. What? We all know why. So why are you feeling bad for the man? Like, but you don't get a say in his life anymore. I'm not having a say in his life anymore. I'm having a say in our friendship.
Yeah. And also you are by necessity with him at times that are maybe not your choice.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like I'm like, we work together.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're also co-workers. Right. Like this is a very different kind of circumstance. So yes, my terms are a little bit more extreme maybe than anyone else would. You should just stop being around him so much. Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's really likely.
So who's taking the pay cut here? Because I'm not. So maybe he should be around me less. If he doesn't like the terms, maybe he should stop coming around.
Yeah.
Listen, people, it's just like this. It's just like not like, it's not ideal for anyone.
No.
So I just thought like, hey, let's make this not toxic or horrible for anyone involved, me, you, our friends, because people make the argument like, well, this is literally like what happens on Vanderpump Rules. I'm like, not in my life.
Not this.
And let me tell you, when it has happened in the past, it was a nightmare for everybody. No one was having a good time when there was like musical chairs and the switch in partners that was happening. It was awkward as fuck.
Yeah.
No one enjoyed that process of things. It was very, very uncomfortable when, Scandoval was now dating this new person and Kristen was now dating this new person, and everyone's like, this is totally normal. We are all just going to trade up people, and like, no, like none of it. And then Stassi's like, so I just have to like keep being around Jax while he dates like every new bitch. And, it's like no one enjoys that, having to like be around your ex while they're dating people, like nobody, it's not fun for anyone. So forgive me for like not wanting that for me and Tom when we were together for like ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. We both wanted something different. Well, I thought we both wanted something different, but he just didn't want to be alone, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I suppose, and I guess that sadly somehow superseded the fact that was the one condition that you had in the post breakup landscape.
I guess had I just been alone and not been hooking up with anyone, then maybe he would have adhered to it. But because other people had to make him aware of it and throw it in his face. I also remind you, I didn't even tell him about this.
Yeah, you weren't like, hey, by the way.
Yeah, I told him I had gone on a date, but I didn't tell him. I kept it so removed and separate from everyone. Like I didn't bring this like around anybody.
Yeah.
Like most people didn't even know this person's name. Like it was very, very separate from everything. But other people had to constantly remind him that I was doing what I was doing. And I thought that was so mean. And so like I would tell him like, I just don't feel like this is like what support looks like from friends.
Yes.
I don't think I wouldn't be really too thrilled if my friends were constantly reminding me that you were like hooking up with other people in a way to like try to get me to resent you when we've explicitly said that like we want to remain friends. Like I just want you to like pay attention.
Yeah. And that reminds me of another thing that is ghoulish that comes up when you realize that people you consider either friends or acquaintances that you're fond of are actively working to make you feel unpleasant, to feel shitty about yourself by doing things like that, by ferrying information over to someone or reminding you of that day that was really awful for no good reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was like, what is happening? I'm like, this is like already a very difficult, like painful transition that I'm going through, that like I could just really use support from as many people as possible, and not people that are making it even more difficult. Like it like blew my mind that was the kind of not support, but that's what I was dealing with. That's the kind of like that was what was around me from people that I just really expected differently from. Especially from people who had like been through certain similar situations that I was the exact opposite with. I was very supportive.
Yeah.
Through like there's times of like grief and sadness, and people, it just was like, I didn't deserve that. I deserved to be treated with grace and empathy and at least like human. No, I treated like I was not allowed to have feelings.
Right.
And I was like gobsmacked, like the way everyone handled that. Not everyone, but like, the way
a few certain people. Yeah.
I felt like it felt like a majority at times.
Sure.
But yeah, that might have just been like, because
Well, feeling persecuted or not treated fairly, it can feel like the majority.
Yeah.
Particularly if no one's doing anything to rectify it or step in and say, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. Because a lot of people like let a lot of nonsense slide because they don't want to get involved and they don't want to say anything. And that in and of itself is kind of unfortunate, not that cool. And
Yeah.
some people get pissed off if you do tell them to not do that kind of thing. But there's a lot of that.
No, I know.
Stuff, which is a drag. Did you find that you limited your interaction with certain people after that? Because I know, you keep a close circle. You're very loyal. But yet when someone breaches your trust, and this is very similar to me, another parallel, it's very hard for me to think of them in a different way. I could forgive, maybe, but I'm never going to forget. And chances are that.
Yeah. I like absolutely, yeah. And it's hard because like I can absolutely forgive, but it's like it is hard to forget because like it was such an intense summer, and I think that even though certain people like now maybe feel very guilty and shameful of behavior and the way they've gone about things, it's like, well, I'm glad, but it's like, would you have
if no one else had observed it, or if you weren't sort of quote unquote caught doing it? Would
not
that be
caught, not
applicable?
caught, but like if things shook out differently,
Yeah.
And I think there's been I don't know how to like. I mean, I think I'd say, but I think right now with what's happened with surrounding like with the Scandoval at all, it's put a different lens on it all.
Yes.
Which is like, okay, great, but it's like, had this not happened, what would your attitude be about it?
Yeah.
Because it's like you still behave the same way. You know what I mean?
I think there's also a certain amount of ingrained misogyny in that, which, I was talking with someone about how the entirety of Vanderpump Rules is an abject lesson for the viewer in particularly how Kristen was viewed. Now, Kristen obviously has had many extreme moments on the show, many unappealing moments or off-putting moments to some people. But when you're looking at a specific case around the time of season 3, season 4, the easy assumption, or the one that everyone jumped to, including myself, when doing the old podcast, was that not that she was in the wrong, but that she was going too far, or she was going all that. And now people are looking at that in a different light. Mm-hmm. And in a way, that's kind of a great thing, because it also in the era that we're in, and I was going to say something, but the era we're in, and also just looking at things, again, like you said, through that lens, women generally, from the viewers and stuff, are not treated as well as the guys.
Yeah.
Which I think is just representative of the culture at large. I think the show, frankly, is representative of the culture at large in many ways.
Yeah, I know. And I think, I don't know why and what it is specifically, but I mean, but in the internal, I mean, we can say that what it is, but I don't know how like people don't become more aware of it when it's happening, and like when they're watching the show, to not understand like you're doing it.
Yeah, no, I know.
You're doing it.
You're doing it, and you've been doing it for a while. And I think maybe this time it's like people are realizing that they were doing it, but at the time probably thought that they were very aware of these issues or aware of misogyny and stuff, but maybe either giving it lip service or not having any clue.
Yeah, no, fully. I mean, it's just, again, I think it's just easy for people, like, because they feel shameful and regretful of how they align themselves, that like now they look at their behavior and be like, oh my God, I should have done it. But it's just like, well, that didn't happen. Like, would you feel bad at the way you treated me? Or do you just feel ridiculous now?
Like embarrassed because it's been observed. There's that thing about, do you feel bad about what you've done, or do you feel bad that you got caught?
Well, I mean, you still would have been caught either way.
I just mean the principle of that. Like, is it because you feel bad about what you've done, like you've thought about it, or is it because it's been observed and you've heard feedback that perhaps that wasn't the greatest
Well, I'm
thing?
just saying if like the Scandoval shit didn't happen.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, because like again, I don't know, because it's like you still would have been observed, but like in the
enough.
the
Yeah, I see what you
observation
mean.
was still happening and the feedback was still there, but you weren't feeling bad about it really.
Right.
So it's like,
Now, what do you think about the almost unprecedented chattiness of cast members or former cast members on other shows? And if this is too Vanderpump specific, we can move off it. So let me outline for people who don't watch the show. Part of the contract, if you will, or there's a great word for it, like a religious word for it. Anyway, part of the terms and conditions of being on the show is that you keep some things private until they air on the show. But this is a strange era right now because of all the stuff.
I mean, it's just let's protect the integrity of storylines and like allowing it to play out for people and like just
Yeah.
like it's more fun for everybody involved, like let's not just spoil it. Like otherwise, like what is the point?
No, that's true, because then you find out everything ahead of time. And people should actually curb their appetite for knowing stuff ahead of time, because it's just like spoilers for films.
Yeah.
But curbing people's appetites, it's not really the easiest thing to do. But to move off of this subject in general, what are some things that you find really fun lately that maybe you didn't in the last few years that you're occupying your time with? And it could be something as simple as just hanging out by yourself on a night that maybe you were going to go out, or knitting, or something.
Like
I know you don't want that to be public. I'm sorry. I'll bleep that.
Like going out is more fun. Like I was like such like homebody because it's like, I didn't have business like going out. I'm not saying you can't go out if you're like, but it's like, typically if you've got a husband at home, like why would you be going out to like places where it's like, I don't know. It's kind of, is that a bit of a very fun? I would still go out to like dinner with my girlfriends. We do that kind of stuff all the time, but like going out, like dancing and like having a little bit more of like a richer, like social life and like a, that kind of thing has been like really fun for me.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's like, definitely, it's hard to find the spots where it's like, where do the fun people go, or like where are the people that are like my age, a little bit older, that still like want to have like that kind of fun. It's not like too sleepy or like whatever, because it's like the places that are fun to go to is, but everyone's like 24, which I'm not like mad at, but it's like I need a little more balance.
Well, listen,
I'm feeling a little imbalanced because it's been heavy on like the younger side, and it's like, all right, like I'm kind of getting a little bored.
There's a couple places I want to take you. Precinct, queer bar. They have fun events, drag shows. There's also this really cool party I went to with my friend Madeline called Subculture. Lots of young folks.
Wait.
It was written about in Rolling Stone recently.
But wait. I feel like why this sounds so familiar. Anyways, you just.
It was on, what's that club on West Pico? I can't remember the name of the club.
Okay.
But it's one of those multi-room clubs, and they have various things.
Oh, there was one recently when we were having like a hurricane, crazy tsunami, like a month ago, I believe. There was like a party recently. I think it was that.
Okay,
Anyways,
yeah, that could well be that. And
anyway.
So we went, and I'm older than the average age of the folks there, but the vibe was great. Like I was filming some of the stuff because I always do. I like to document the nightlife scene and various things going on. And normally at things like that, people will just bump into you. They won't say anything, they're just kind of rude. People were going out of their way to not bump into the selfie stick that I use as like a tripod. And everyone was really nice. They were really chill. You could tell that they were all there to have a good time. There was lots of like outfits. Like people were dressing up to go somewhere, which is immediately a sign that they're like, we want to have fun and we're going to put out a fun vibe. And I mean, that can go in other directions when some places are a little too like looks and want to be seen.
Right.
But this place is a lot of fun. I think you'd dig it.
Okay.
Also the gay places.
I mean, that's always a good time.
It's always a good time. Yeah. So we'll have to go to some of those. And I think we're getting close to your time limit. So
yeah, probably. Yeah.
But the time has flown by, as it always does when we chat.
I know.
Is there anything you'd like to add before we close this chapter?
I feel like I covered a lot.
I think we did too.
Yeah.
I think we did too. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're
It's a
welcome.
delight to see you as always. And
Thanks for having me.
my pleasure. And I look forward to the next time. Great. Good. The energy was really good, and keep that up, and now we'll really do one. That's my old... Once again, if you're on YouTube, hit subscribe and like, and if you're listening on a podcast app, rate and review. And of course, the 5-star review is the most sophisticated, and as you know, listening to this, you are quite a sophisticate. Also, go to patreon.com/Craig and Friends to get advanced, uncut, and commercial-free versions of these episodes. Support the show, and also, you get a whole host of bonus material. Ada and I have separate exclusive chats just for you there, and there's solo episodes, there is vault episodes, or our vault episodes, plenty of them, and a whole lot more. But you know what? You can find that out when you go over to patreon.com/Craig and Friends.